Beauty. Welcome to another episode of the Game of Life podcast. I'm so thrilled today to be joined by one of the best entertainers in Australia, if not the world, singer, actor Sam Ludeman. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Dan. Cheers.
I'd really like to get into your musical theatre background before we sort of talk more about your career in general and what you're doing now, because you had quite a long career in music theatre up until you were injured, is that correct?
In Grease the musical, I think I did too many pelvic thrusts.
Right.
And I tore it's called your labrum, which is the lining of your socket, and then you've got a ligament that connects the femoral head to the socket that helps supply, it's like blood supply, called your ligamentous teres. And I tore halfway through that and did a 12 mil tear in my labrum. And unfortunately kind of didn't get diagnosed early and right. So I actually danced on it for about 6 or 7 months.
Wow.
Before they finally were like, because I couldn't do warm-up. I was just on the foam roller. And they finally, wasn't until I got to Perth and we had this different physio who was kind of an expert with soccer players. And he took a look at my symptoms and he goes, oh, you got a labral tear.
Right.
And I was like, hang on, this is the first time I'm hearing this. What? He goes, yeah, I'm nearly 100% sure you got a labral tear. Went and got an MRI and they were like, yeah, that's bad. We operate on anything over 5 mil. Yours is 12 mil. And you've torn through a ligament as well, your ligamentous teres, or you've torn halfway through it. So then, that was a bit of a shock to the system. A little bit upsetting, obviously. Like you kind of think you're invincible. I'd never really been injured and always thought you're invincible until you're not.
Yeah.
And then got the MRI and they said, you're going to need surgery. So had to go on work cover and fell into a little bit of depression and just, well, what am I going to do now? That's my body is my kind of job. My body is my life.
Yeah.
And then, just had to leave the Grease tour. And that was kind of it for my musical career at that point. Yeah.
Yeah. Was that, I mean, what was going through your head during that period? Did you ever think you'd be able to get back to that world of musical theatre?
Yeah, I kind of did, but in a weird way, I'd nearly said no to Grease because I was just starting to feel I've done musicals for around not 10 years, about 8 or 9 years. I've always played music and played guitar and wanted to do songwriting and was looking also into more film acting, TV acting and stuff like that. Yeah. And so I nearly said no because I was just like, maybe it's time for something else. So I wasn't necessarily going to do musicals after Grease anyway, and this definitely forced my hand.
Yeah,
or forced my hip.
I wonder what would have happened if you didn't go through that injury, if you had just continued in music theatre without ever taking a step away from it. Because as soon as you get into that world, it's quite difficult to step away.
It is in the sense that, that FOMO, you feel the next audition comes out or the next big show comes out and you get the casting brief and your agent's always like, you'd be perfect for this part, you'd be good for that. And you do get kind of sucked in to stay in that world.
Right.
And so it probably would have been challenging. And honestly, I think I probably would have done more. Let's say I didn't get injured at all. Grease, finished the tour of Grease. It's kind of hard to go, well, all right, now how do I start a full different side career, still within the arts, but how am I going to earn the good money? I've got to dip my reputation in music theatre. Yeah. That's what people are looking at me for and hiring me for. So it probably would have been hard, and I have a feeling that had I not got injured, I probably would have been like, Addams Family, okay. This new show, I'll audition for that. Yeah.
So kind of a blessing in disguise then when you look back on it now.
Yeah.
How long was the gap in between stepping away from Grease and then continuing on with your own work?
It took me about 3 months after the surgery to really start to feel like I was able to kind of get out there physically and mentally and kind of challenge myself and start doing something new. So I'd say around 3 to 6 months is how long it took me to then go, okay, I'm going to set up a corporate band called the Sam Ludeman Band, get an awesome group of musicians together, learn some of the latest songs and be, a party band.
Yeah.
I've always played in bands since that was kind of my first job when I was in the arts. When I was 17, I started playing with my best mate, Sam Russell. We were Sam and Sam. And we
Sam and Sam, but different, right?
Sam, but different. Yeah. We played all 40th and 21st and 80th birthdays, and funnily enough, we're still doing the same birthdays, which is weird when you're 40 years old now.
Right.
So, that kind of inspired me to do that, and then also go on The Voice.
Mm-hmm.
That was like an opportunity that I thought could help catapult me into that scene.
Name recognition.
Name recognition, maybe a bit more money because you got the recognition. Also, it's just a good sell point for a lot of clients. Like clients will be like, maybe they're tossing up between 3 bands.
Yeah.
And then it's Joe Blow and Bob Jack and
But
Sam Ludeman. Oh, he was on The Voice.
Yeah.
That just seems to help get clients over the line. So I decided to do that and then, focus more on music and original music and performing in that way.
Was there any hesitation about stepping into a reality show?
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge. I didn't want to...
Because it can be exploitative.
It can be exploitative and it just can also pigeonhole you hard. Yeah. And granted, I'd already been, I guess, like you were kind of saying, pigeonholed as a music theatre boy, which is hard to break out of that, especially when you want to do maybe acting or plays, or they go, oh, you do music theatre, you're not really an actor.
Right.
Oh, you do music theatre, you're not really an original artist, or you don't do so I'd already been kind of pigeonholed. So, and they kind of sucked me in. They said I'd get to choose all my songs. They lied through their teeth, basically. Shine Australia and The Voice Australia. I believed them, and they said this is different. It's the chairs are turned. This was the very first year it came to Australia.
Oh right.
So I didn't know anything about it. They sent me the American one. I watched all the American one, and I was like, oh, this is different. It's all about the voice. It's not about the backstory and all that stuff. But then, of course, it is, because that adds drama. Like in hindsight, it's a good thing. It's a TV show. It's for ratings. They want drama.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't give them a lot. And I remember the story producer would always be like, but don't you feel like, I think one of the things which I hated because they went with it, like being good looking is sometimes like hard because people don't take you serious for other things. And I'm like, I guess
they
maybe
just implant these ideas.
But I remember kind of saying, I guess maybe sometimes that comes up. That maybe people think I'm just a pretty boy that doesn't really have talent and only gets jobs because of how I look. Yeah. But the way they cut that was all that. I guess maybe sometimes it was, I guess sometimes I get that. I get that and I just thought it was such a weak story, and I could have said so many personal things, or growing up dyslexic, or getting bullied, or if they wanted the drama, I could have just like gone, this is the type of show it is, realize that and lean into it. And I think it would have done better. And I didn't get to choose any songs. I didn't like Seal, who I ended up choosing instead of Delta Goodrum. Only those two turned. And I think Keith didn't turn because I stuffed up the lyric, and he's a stickler for lyrics. And because I felt like he was about to, and if you've ever watched my blind audition, there's this moment where I know I sing the wrong lyric, and Keith catches it and goes, no, maybe I won't turn. Sorry, that was a waffle.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
What did your music theatre mates think when they saw you on The Voice?
I think they're super proud. They're super supportive. The men and the women too, but I can obviously mainly speak for the men. The boys and men in music theatre, we kind of all have each other's backs. I really like that about the industry. We were all gunning for each other, and we're all trying to help. We'd help each other run lines or practice, or say maybe don't do that song, that high note. That high note's not there yet. Like, just put your best foot forward. Those kind of things. So I got a lot of support and a lot of love, and I think because it was this new show that everyone thought was going to be the very first Australian Idol, or like how big those reality shows were, and because they marketed it so well, I think a lot of people, like at one point for the first live show, I was just about to go on, and one of the producers didn't mean it, but freaked me out by like running up to my kind of minder, or the person who looks after me, and going, a quarter of Australia's watching.
Yeah.
And I was just like, and I overheard it, and I was just like, holy crap. And it's live.
Yeah.
And they don't do it live anymore.
Yeah.
Because they like to auto-tune it and do the story and navigate all those things, I think. And so I was just like crapping my dacks as I was walking out to sing, this song. But no, they were super supportive, and everyone got around me, it felt like, and was like, vote for Sam, and the music theatre boys trying to, go somewhere else.
That's crazy that it went out live. Like, of course you have the experience, right?
Yeah.
In live theatre and doing what you do now anyway, but when it's live television, how did that play on your mind when you went out there and did it?
I was crazy nervous. Yeah. I actually, we all get used to nerves from being, like you said, in music theatre for nearly 10 years, performing live every night to 2,000 people. It was just a different beast. Yeah. It was so orchestrated, and the cameras are different. You kind of don't know where to put your attention. There's a live crowd there that I just wanted to engage with the live crowd, but they're like, make sure you catch the cameras. I remember my in-ears. I made a kind of a bad mistake with my in-ears. I rehearsed with both of them in, and then decided I only wanted to wear one on the day, which I shouldn't have done because it just kind of threw me a bit. Yeah. Then as I was walking out to start, my belt pack fell off.
Right.
And so I bent down and picked it up, and that just gave me like a, oh no. And so I was really nervous, and I ended up getting really bad reflux, as obviously a stress condition or something. And the night before, I barely slept, and I took some aspirin, which I thought would help, but it made the reflux way worse. And then I was just dry reaching and trying to vomit all night and drink heaps of water and then vomit it up because I thought that would relieve that feeling, but it didn't.
Yeah.
And so my voice wasn't in the best state, which affects your confidence. And it was pretty full on, pretty nerve-wracking. Yeah. But it still was an amazing experience, and I'm glad I did it.
So did The Voice have the intention that it was set out to have when it was finished and you went out on your own to do your own stuff? Did it have an effect?
Yeah, it was kind of perfect.
Yeah?
It probably did exactly what I thought it would do, plus more, because I didn't realize all the clothing stores that would just contact you and say, come in, choose whatever you want. And so you got to kind of build a new clothing look, and you're getting brands and necklaces. And
did you ever think about a look before?
Nah. And they tried to put me in this real preppy look, which I didn't like, but I kind of just trusted them. Yeah. I just said, and I could have fought harder. I saw a bunch of other people, like specifically, like who I'm still friends with now, Sarah DeBono or someone. Like she's like, I don't want to wear that. Like that's not me. That doesn't look right. I probably could have done that a bit more, because I wanted to be a bit more Aussie bloke, kind of tap into that, hopefully humble Aussie bloke from the country originally who is trying to make it. That was a good story for me, and it's kind of who I am. Yeah. But I kind of end up going more preppy, what I'd say is like Zac Efron kind of look or whatever that was going on, and it didn't feel right on stage wearing it. But no, the show had for me, like the exact, I was like, I don't want to get too far where I'm signed and I've got to do X, Y, and Z, but I don't want to get out straight away or have the blind auditions, they don't turn around because that's a bit humiliating. I'm like, somewhere in the middle would be great. I get a bit of recognition. People like go, I saw you, yeah. I still get it today, funnily enough, which is crazy.
Really? How long ago was that now?
It's 2012.
Yeah, right. Oh, wow.
Was that 14 years?
That's incredible, yeah.
I got it the other day. It was, like someone was like, oh, yeah, I remember you, Sam, like from The Voice. You sang Gavin DeGraw, blah, blah. And I was like, holy crap, because I don't get it often anymore at all. And I was just like blown away that this person was like, yeah, I remember you. And I think they said you were wearing a red shirt or something. I'm like, how have you memorized this? Crazy. Yeah. But then, it was perfect. I finished it. I wasn't signed in any way to anything. And I just started putting out some YouTube videos, put the Sam Ludeman band together, put out the promo, and then it just started getting booked straight away for good money.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So when did you put out your first song?
Original music?
Yeah.
Oh, so that came a little bit later. So I'd done the Sam Ludeman band thing for about 2 years. Yeah. And then Sam Russell, my duo partner who I always played with, he'd gotten sick of his job as well. And he works in the tech field and he runs his own tech company. And that's a hard slog in terms of clients are never happy, you overcharge me, it doesn't have this feature and all this stuff. And so he was like, I'm kind of done with this.
How old was he when he made that decision to?
He would have been, that was about 8-9 years ago. And so we're both 40. So you're about 30, 31.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then we kind of talked and we're like, well, do we want to give music a full-time go? And he said, yes. We set up a company and we just poured both of our efforts into original music and cover music too, like just to earn a full-time wage off playing in pubs and clubs and private events and all that stuff, knowing that we wanted to get to original music tours and all that stuff. And so we set that up about 8 or 9 years ago and had all these residencies and we're playing at Crown and Precinct and Albion, all these great Melbourne venues that really looked after us and really supported us and said, yeah, you can add a drummer, you can add a sound guy, like a special occasion, I'm going to get a female vocalist in, so I try to keep incorporating the Sam Ludeman band into the public sphere.
Yeah.
And then we developed what felt like a really good following and really big support. And then we'd just recorded our first single, The River, and then released that when was COVID? Just before COVID.
So around like 2019, 2020? Yeah.
So released The River, and then we were planning to do these trips where we'd go to another country, bring our electric skateboards, find a cool location, write the song there, shoot the film clip there, and then come back, edit it all together, release the song and the YouTube video as the kind of story on how we got to write it.
Right.
And so we wrote my friend about our friendship, Sam and I's friendship over the years in Queenstown. And when we got back, I think like that week when we got back and we're editing it and about to release it, COVID hit. And all the lockdowns started.
Right.
And that's when we had to pivot, and weirdly we're in this amazing unique position that we just bought like $20,000 worth of live streaming equipment. Like the A10s, the stuff we're using here. We bought 2 of these mics, the Shure SM7Bs. We bought an A10 Mini. We bought the really good Sony cameras, and we started experimenting with live streaming. And we did one 15-minute live stream in between one of our gigs up in Sydney and put it on Facebook, and it didn't go that well. It got a few views and we're like, okay. And then, a week later it was lockdowns and we kind of were like, well, let's do this live stream thing. And it just blew up because I think we had this really good quality live stream kind of that seemed like it just came out of nowhere that was ready for people sitting at home for the next 9 or 10, 12, 15 months.
Yeah.
And so we just started doing that every weekend, and it just kind of organically blew up.
Were you at all trepidatious at first putting out your own original music for the public to?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. You feel like people are going to hate it. You're not American. It's not what people listen to. Are my stories is this melody good? It is kind of tricky because I also hadn't done many hours in it. Like I've probably done my 10,000 hours in performing and singing and dancing, but not 10,000 hours of songwriting. I'd done 10 hours of songwriting and stuff. Yeah. And I wasn't always I'd always written poems when I was younger and stuff like that, and just that version of myself kind of came back. So no, you're very nervous because it's a lot more personal. I'm not playing someone else. I'm not playing someone else. I'm not singing someone else's lyrics, someone else's music, someone else's character. I'm playing Sam Ludeman, trying to show you what I'm about and what I've got. So it was nerve-wracking, but it got received really well. And luckily, because of this live stream and COVID, people were like, we want more. Can you write more originals? Yeah. So then we just basically all week we'd try to write originals, learn new covers that people would suggest on the stream. And then the next week when we'd perform the live stream, we'd show them a bit of a new original. And they'd be like, oh, that's great. More. And then the followers just built it. Ended up getting 60,000 followers on Facebook, and they were just like, we want an album, we want a tour, like when you guys are done, we want to like support you. And that was just amazing.
Did you ever have a moment where you were able to sort of slow down and take your breath and think, oh, this is incredible that people are responding to this in the way they are?
A moment to slow down? No. Like COVID was actually the busiest time, nearly the busiest time of my life. Which kind of sucked because it was really hard. It was obviously really stressful for people, and I was very grateful that I had this crazy opportunity to help people out. It felt like we're really helping people out. I still get it to this day. People saying you saved me during COVID. I look forward to your show every week, and it was so engaging and interactive, and the whole family would get together and all that stuff. But I didn't get to smell the roses much. It was just like, all right, well, what are we doing next? Let's get merch out, because we wanted to do it as a free service. Because we thought it would last a couple of months, and ended up lasting a couple of years. We thought we'd do it for free, as long as we could, because we're on WorkKeeper or whatever, JobKeeper.
JobKeeper,
yeah. And we thought, okay. And then we started selling merch and stubby holders, and it was just constantly learning new songs. And Sam and I starting to like fight because we're kind of living with each other.
Right.
And we having disagreements about which direction it should go, and should we open the tip jar? Should we not open the tip jar? These like hundreds of people just messaging us every week. I'll drop off firewood. I'll drop off alcohol. You boys are my savior. Oh, come and people would bring us toys and gifts, and
that's overwhelming.
It was crazy, and so it was really actually quite full on, and it was quite taxing, like because especially when COVID kind of lifted, there's this expectation of I felt like I just worked for the whole time, and whereas most people got to have a break, and then people were like, where's your album?
Yeah, now the pressure's on.
Now you've got tour and to set up some shows, and we want to come see you. What's happening? Why are you guys still going to keep live streaming? So there was just this like insane pressure where a lot of our fans, I think they, and it's so natural. I think they felt like they were part of us. They felt like they owned us a little bit. We helped kind of make you.
Yeah.
And there was that responsibility, which was pretty intimidating.
In doing my research about you before today, I know that Sam, you've been best mates with him since you were 15.
Yeah, we met in grade 6.
Yeah,
but yeah, best mates since and like started hanging out when we did a stag show, Shepparton Theatre Arts Group, called One Hit Wonders. Because he was at Wanganui, I was at Shep High, so we didn't actually cross paths much other than in grade 6 at Boucher Street. And then, around year 9, 10, we got sorry, I got something on my lip. We became good mates, and I realised he played guitar. I wanted to start a band. We just started jamming and did our first gig at Flanagan's in Shepparton when we were 17, when we were underage.
Right.
And it was awesome because we were drinking and getting paid cash every Thursday night, rocking up to school on... in year 12, like hungover, just going, we're rock stars.
Yeah. So Were you two always in each other's orbits, working with each other, even during the time when you're, in musical theatre as well?
Yeah, any downtime, because we were just happy to always play with each other, and I didn't play guitar for a long time in terms of being competent to play solo by myself. So let's say I did my first musical, High School Musical, and that finished early because it was meant to be this long run and it didn't sell, blah, 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 like so many musicals do. And that finished. So then there's always that 3-month, sometimes longer hiatus of now I've got to audition for the next show, get into the next show, then the next show has to start.
Yeah.
And that takes a long time. So whenever I had that 3-month or 6-month break before the next musical started, it's straight back to gigging. So yeah, just playing in pubs and playing at private and corporate things, and yeah, just always going, hey man, the musical's finishing up. I'm gonna have about 3 months off. We'll try and get some gigs. And he was just always like, yeah, cool, because it was just a side hustle for him. Right. Like he just liked playing music. Yeah, and we'd done it, and we'd know so many songs. We didn't have to rehearse much because we lived together, so we'd just always be jamming and learning the latest song, and it was just fun.
I'm so interested to explore how you two work with each other, because you mentioned earlier that, you got into fights over certain things. How has that work relationship and collaborating with each other in the way you do been over the years?
It used to be terrible.
Yeah.
Like, no way. When we were younger, we just had such a different opinion on how songs are written. And because we tried to write songs when we were 17, 18, 19, 20.
Right.
We just stopped. We just could not agree on, like, he's like, it has to do this and it has to do this. I'm like, music doesn't have to do anything. It's just free and open. And I was like this hippie backbeat guy, and he was like, no, there's music theory and structure, and we should go to this chord next because mathematically it makes sense. And we were just like, let's just sing other people's songs. So that's what we did. We just sung covers. What happened was, obviously we matured and maybe had more points of view and stories to tell. And later on, how more or less worked was he'd write the music and I'd try and write the melody and the lyrics, and then we'd bring them together. And that's when he'd be like, oh, maybe try this with the melody, maybe these lyrics I've liked better, they make a bit more sense, or blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, oh, can the guitars, can it really drop down here, or can we stay on that chord so I can hold this note? So it was more collaborative, and we kind of got that not nastiness, that fighting out of the way, where we both thought this is how a song is written.
Right.
We're like, there's no structure. There's no real way a song is written. Let's just try to get something out there. And that's kind of how it came about. And that's where it was good at the time, even though we only did 2 of them. The River and My Friend, our first 2 singles, came about because we had a deadline. And I think a deadline really helps you just go, well, let's stop arguing about it. Those are the lyrics. Yeah. That's the music. Yeah. We're happy with it. Yep. All right, because we've got to get this out.
The self-imposed deadline.
Yeah. We would always put these, and how we found we both worked better is like, this is when it needs to be done by, recorded and produced, and we got to get it out there, and we got to upload it to Spotify and Apple and all that stuff. So that's how it changed over the years.
It is a tricky thing, isn't it? Because you were friends, but then when you start working together in that capacity, it could really test the friendship.
Yeah, it totally did. We're going back off it a bit. Number one, it's a really hard slog in the original scene. I've also realized I don't love it, and you got to try these things to realize that you might not love it. Like I liked doing musicals more. Yeah. Is how I'll put it. And how I look at it was actually just like performing more in any way. Yeah. And actually like doing varied performances. Whereas what I've realized with songwriting and trying to tell your own stories, it's the same path, the same way, the same songs next to the same bandmate indefinitely, unless you change something. Yeah. And so we've actually stepped back a bit from it, trying to go as hard. We're always gonna play together, probably till the day we die. But we're not going like full-time. Our full-time job is writing songs and releasing them.
Right.
So I'm doing some solo gigs. I've just started this new boy band show with Rob Mills and Bobby Fox. I'm doing some other things. Sam's actually gone back into tech because he's loving the AI. Like he's always been into that. And so he's all fully into the AI bubble and going down that route. And so we're still going to do it, but it's just not our full-time job.
Right. It doesn't have to be the be-all, end-all.
And it was, in my opinion, it was affecting our friendship.
Yeah.
We became less best mates and more mates but business partners. And so and when there's money involved, not that we ever had a fight about money or anything, but when money's involved, there's just this responsibility.
Of course.
What are you doing this week to generate more income? What are you doing this week to generate more income? This isn't said, but it's the undertone of running a company.
Of course.
Of running a business is what are we doing to grow this and like up our salaries and make sure we're getting to where we want to get. And so then
it's like you can never catch up as mates.
No, well that's it.
Yeah,
and it's still unfortunately happening a bit today. I'd say is that because we see each other so much for gigs, like more than I would ever see any other good friend ever in a year. We might do 5 gigs that week together. And we're driving to Mildura or Lakes Entrance, or then we've got heaps of gigs in the city. But I see him 5 days a week.
Right.
And at a gig, you're backstage, you're chilling, you're after sound check, you have a green room, you're having a beer, you're catching up. So it's kind of weird to then go, hey, I know we've seen each other 5 days this week. Yeah. What are you doing tomorrow? Yeah. Should we just try and catch up as mates? And it's you kind of can't. It's kind of weird. Because you're like, well, we see each other all the time. But you kind of, in a weird way, we've realised you kind of need to try and do that. You need to try and not just always see each other around work. Yeah. But it's a really hard thing to do because we're both busy and on our days off, we don't want to see, not that we don't want to see each other. No. We've got heaps of other stuff to do. And so it's a tricky one. But it affected our friendship, which we both acknowledge. And we've just been trying to be like, well, let's get back to where it's maybe our side hustle. Right. It's that we love playing music together. We've got other things going on that inspire us and stuff, but we don't have to go 100% all in on this together. And which it's been good. It's been good.
Can you see yourself going back into musical theatre?
I can.
Yeah.
I can. I don't know when. I don't know. It's hard financially. I just had a baby girl, which I probably told no one about, so you probably didn't even know
exclusive,
that.
Exclusive, yeah.
We've kept that very private because of COVID and stuff and everything being private and people knowing where we lived and everyone feeling like they kind of owned us. Yeah. We wanted to keep this to ourselves. Yep. So I got a little baby girl, and what's tricky is musicals are great. The 8 shows a week, the maybe having to tour interstate with a baby girl, I don't really want to do that to Elise and Opal, my partner, Elise, and Opal, my daughter. And then also, I now earned what I think is quite good money playing 2 nights a week.
Right.
And that's all I do.
Yeah.
I sing Friday and Saturday nights, and then I have the rest of the time off. I'm building a tiny off-grid tiny house on wheels at the moment with Elise and filming all that for YouTube. And so I can do all these, and I can be a really present dad and always be there. So what's tricky, the only thing that's tricky about going back into musicals is, will I be able to go back and earn what I think I'm worth? Yeah. But it's kind of going back into a different field that maybe I'm not worth that anymore, if you know what I mean. Like I haven't just done The Voice. I haven't just done something. I haven't been in the last 10 musicals that makes you snowball into, well, you're really sought after. Your wage should go up. So I think it'd be tricky to go back to a musical, get the fee that I want, and then also have stipulations about, well, when we go from Melbourne to Adelaide and Brisbane and stuff, I need to take my family and you need to put them up. And I don't know if that's going to work, but I'm super keen at some point to hopefully just get go back into it.
Yeah. Yeah. There is such a freedom in doing what you're doing now because you're doing a bit of everything. Yeah. So you are your own boss as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like musical theatre, there is some uncertainty in musical theatre, I think, these days. I mean, Back to the Future playing in Sydney just got its run cancelled.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
I didn't actually know that.
So, they were set to tour, but because of, production costs and just poor ticket sales, their run was cut short. So they're only playing in Sydney up until the end of January. So there is some uncertainty with music theatre here in Australia as well.
I had 2 shows that were kind of my favourite shows finish early.
Yeah.
So High School Musical, the very first one I got into, and so that's when you're breaking your teeth and you're super passionate, you're super excited. I was the understudy to 2 leads. I was in the core ensemble. I had to dance my ass off. I was learning so much, and I was just loving it. And I was like, and I'm earning money.
Yeah.
And I'm loving it. And so I think we ran for 5 weeks or 6 weeks. I was meant to run for a year. And so you also kind of plan, well, if I do this for a year, I'll be able to save this much, and then hopefully this musical will come out. And then that cancelled. And then I did a few others that were successful. Fame had a good run with Kelly Abbey and a couple of production company shows. And then I got into Xanadu. And once again, I got the lead role. Ticked that bucket list off that had been written since I was at uni, had written down that I'm going to get a lead role in a musical. I got this lead role, and it was the best musical, and I loved it, and I loved the role. I was meant to run for a year, and it lasted for 6 weeks.
Yeah,
and it just crushes you. That uncertainty makes you go, I don't know about this next one. Like you just start to doubt them. Yeah. You start to kind of not have you're not as excited or have as high hopes that it's going to run for exactly how long it's going to run for.
Yeah.
And I was never part of those, Jersey Boys or Wickeds that it's like, do you want to stay on for another 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
Like I never had that kind of option of this thing's just gangbusters. Yeah. You can leave whenever you want, or you can stay on and renegotiate and stuff. So yeah, it is a bit uncertain.
How do you think you'd go auditioning again for music theatre?
I think it'd be weird. I think I'd go in maybe with a little bit too much. I'd need to check my ego at the door. Yeah. I'd want to go in as humble as I could, feeling like I'm kind of starting again and needing to prove myself. I also think I need to work on my voice because you don't have to work on your voice in original music or cover scenes, anything close to like what you have to do when you're doing 8 shows a week. Also singing that more classical or legit technique, and sounding like you know how to sing in musicals that do different vowels and more open and more diaphragm, all that kind of stuff. So I think I'd have to realize that I can't just walk back into that and check my kind of ego at the door and be like, okay, I got to be humble here. I've been out of the game for 10 years, for 14 years, however long it's been. I'd have to try and find the passion on the project, on the character and the music, and realize, let's fall in love with those things again, because then if you love those things, you're naturally going to do the best job you can at the audition because you've done your research, you've rehearsed, you've practiced, you're putting your best foot forward. Yeah, I wouldn't want to try and do it and be like, well, I'll just get into this show, whatever it is, and tour for a while. That'll be fun. Yeah. Like, I think that's not going to work.
Yeah. Did you always see yourself being, an entertainer?
I think so. Yeah. I think so. I think it took some encouragement from some teachers at Shep High, mainly Miss Porter, my drama teacher, was just like the one person that made me realize you can do it as a job. It can be a profession. Like certain things that you kind of, as a kid, you need to be told.
Yeah.
This isn't just a side hobby. People do this for a living. What? You can sing and act and dance and get paid. Yeah. Like, and make good money. Or be able to provide for a family or maybe buy a house and stuff. And I kind of took me a while to get that. Yeah. But no, I always was getting told to shut up because I would sing from the age of 3 or 4. I'd watch video hits and memorize every single top 10, top 20, top 30, 40, 50 songs. And I would know every lyric to them. And I just loved watching film clips. I remember being obsessed with Rage and video hits. And I just watched them and be like, I remember thinking I wanted to direct or help create film clips, because I found film clips so interesting. Like that you could the song could be about something, but the film clip can be about something completely different. And there's this funny juxtaposition that can be had there. And yeah, I think looking back, I was always wanting to perform, wanting to tell a joke, wanting to say, everyone look at me, I'm doing something funny or cool or dangerous or stupid. So it was definitely in my nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did it feel obtainable when you started to go down that path of studying? Like I think you went to, was it Ballarat?
Went to BAPA. I think it's just not called that anymore, but Ballarat Academy of Performing Arts. I think I had my doubts.
Yeah.
And it probably was between second and third year. I wrote down a list of goals. I realized where my talent was sitting. I realized how much work I needed to do and how serious I needed to take it if I wanted to actually get into professional musicals. That's when I was pretty certain. And then third year of uni, I got the lead role in one of the musicals, Bat Boy, and I just went full crazy, my version of method acting and practicing 6 hours a day vocals, dancing all the time, practicing my tap and jazz and ballet, just going so hard because I was like, I'm going to have to be better than I'm going to have to be one of the best ones if I want to get booked. And so I just went really, really hard. And that starts to give you the confidence because people start going, geez, your voice is sounding good.
Yeah.
Gee, your dancing has improved. You've gone up to the next level in dance. And you start to feel the confidence within yourself because you know you're putting in the work. That's when I really thought, I'm actually going to do this, I think. Whereas, unfortunately, a lot of people who do music theatre school probably never get into a musical, or the majority of them never get into a professional musical.
Right.
And then they have to find where that pivots them.
Yeah.
Whether it be teaching or whatnot. And that's totally fine. But it's also maybe a realization that maybe there isn't enough natural talent there, but there also wasn't that desire to go crazy and do 10 hours more than the person next to you to try and beat them and be better than them. Yeah. So, yeah.
I have to wrap up shortly, but I'll ask you a couple more questions. I think somewhere you said that persistence is really a key ingredient to succeeding in this area.
Yeah.
Have you always been a persistent type of person?
No, not at all. I self-sabotage a lot, especially growing up, where I even do it now at times where I'm like, I know what I should be doing. Just go do it. And I'll distract myself by mowing the lawns or 3D printing some model thing that I want to 3D. Like I'll easily distract myself because there's this fear, always been this fear in me of what if I prepare and do my best job and get a no, if you know what I mean? Yeah. Whereas if I don't fully prepare and I don't go really hard on it and I get a no, it's because I didn't try really hard. But what happens when you try really hard and you get a no? So there's always that balance with me. I don't know what it is or where it stems from, and I've tried to do a lot of work on it. But no, I haven't been. When I was doing musicals, I was super consistent, I must admit. I was training really hard. I was getting external. I was doing everything extra that I thought I could do. Extra singing lessons, extra dance classes, extra acting classes with different coaches, changing my coach every 3 years. So I learned maybe something every 3 months. Yeah. So I maybe picked on something new. Then I wasn't just going down the one path. I was super consistent in musicals. Yeah. When I left musicals, I kind of was like, it's nice not having to be that regimented and strict. And I also wasn't in that, I want to be the best. I want to get leads. I want to be better than everyone. That competitiveness also went. And so now I'm not super, I would say I'm not super consistent with, I'm just kind of rolling with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get you on for a part 2. This is a good conversation. I
Yeah,
really
for
enjoyed
sure.
chatting with you today.
Yeah.
But I am looking forward to seeing what you do with boy band.
Yeah.
With Rob and Bobby as
Yeah.
well. One last question. This question I always end on. What are the words of wisdom you live by?
Oh, that is a good one. I think it comes back to my dad saying that old school saying of find a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life. And it does sound simple, but it's how I've based a lot of my philosophy on in life. Because I kind of go, am I happy doing what I'm doing? If I am, if it's bringing in enough money, that's success.
Yeah.
That's a really good thing to wake up and go, do I love my job? Am I happy doing what I'm doing? I am. I'm really happy. I'm really grateful. I'm really blessed. And I really try to have gratitude in that department. And that's how I look at my success. And it's probably that kind of saying in a nutshell is that always try to find something that inspires you and makes you happy.
Yeah.
And then hopefully, of course, you can make a living out of that and stuff. So they're kind of my words of wisdom I live by.
Sam, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. It's been great.
Thanks, mate.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.